Richard Burgon.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And I was only able to have sight of the Secretary of State's statement 20 minutes before he started speaking, which left me, I do think, in an unacceptable position where I had to prepare my statement based upon press briefings on such a serious matter. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, I do want to begin by saying that my thoughts are with the people who were attacked yesterday and their families, and with the people of Streatham who witnessed this absolutely horrific attack. I also want to pay tribute, Madam Deputy Speaker, to our police and emergency services for their professionalism and courage that they demonstrated in their swift response to this attack. The first responsibility of a government is to keep its citizens safe. Tragically, the cuts that we have seen over the previous decade across our justice system, to the police and to prisons, to probation and to the CPS, have left our communities less safe, which is why our justice system is in a state of crisis. It will, of course, take time for the full facts around yesterday's terrible attack to come out, and we owe it to those affected to carefully assess what happened and take the action necessary to reduce the risk of similar attacks happening again. Experts, Madam Deputy Speaker, have raised serious concerns about the impact of austerity on the government's programmes for dealing with terrorism offenders. A former CPS Chief Prosecutor for North West England described these programmes today as being largely underfunded and poorly executed. Does the Secretary of State agree with this assessment, and what is being done to address this? Turning to prisons, Madam Deputy Speaker, this is the second such attack carried out by a recently released prisoner in recent months. So how many of the recommendations from the 2016 review into extremism in prisons have been implemented? Huge cuts to prison budgets have not only left our prisons with more than 2,000 fewer officers than in 2010, they also led to an exodus of experienced staff with the loss of tens of thousands of years of experience. And that experience is vital in maintaining safety and order in prisons, and crucially in identifying and dealing with radicalisation. Figures that I obtained last year show that the picture in high-security prisons is even worse, with over 400 fewer prison officers in high-security prisons compared with 2010. So does the Secretary of State believe that those cuts to staffing levels have made it more difficult to monitor people convicted of terror offences in prisons? And those same figures revealed that Belmarsh, where the Streatham attacker was held until his release last week, has a staggering 100 fewer prison officers than it did back in 2010. So by what date will the government return all high-security prison staffing numbers to 2010 levels? Sadly, the problems in our criminal justice system are not limited to prisons. Probation manages hundreds of thousands of offenders released from prison. All but a handful of the most dangerous prisoners will at some point leave prison. Probation, Madam Deputy Speaker, has a vital role to play in keeping our communities safe, and the decision by the government to break up our probation system, alongside the decision to outsource the monitoring of some of the most dangerous offenders in bail hostels, has left the public at higher risk. So what assessment has the Secretary of State made of the consequences of the failed probation reforms on the monitoring of those convicted of terror offences? Finally, on sentencing, Madam Deputy Speaker, for the most dangerous offenders, judges can ensure that prisoners are not released halfway through their sentence, that instead they serve a minimum of 2/3 and are only then released if the parole board determines that it is safe to do so. We will look at the proposals that have been referred to in the Secretary of State's statement, because our priority must be to keep the public safe. But to be clear, the government cannot use sentencing as a way of distracting from their record of bringing the criminal justice system to breaking point.